Hi. Oh, right. I was having some trouble with my video capture and audio capture. I don't know what was going on with it. Oh, dear. I used to love doing engineering stuff back in the old days, back in the 80s. Well, what was it? 70s, actually. But, anyway, right. Let me just zoom in on here. Right. Let me just get in close. I'm making this a private video for you, Russ, because I think, well, I don't want to be putting this on YouTube yet because it'll just complicate things. We'll get questions from everybody, and I want to be able to prove the concept of this yet, first of all. But basically, the idea is that, let me just get my little box thingy. Right, I'll just use my highlight box. The idea is that the magnetic field will pass through to the coil normally in that fashion. And now when there's a magnetic field below, you know, when our magnet comes close, what we're going to be doing is distorting the magnetic field rather than completely cancelling it out or anything. We're simply redirecting it. And I've got this idea that it will be easier to pull a magnetic field off course, basically like a bullet flying. Well, you know about bullets, and now it's got a bullet flying across in a straight line. Now the amount of energy in that bullet would be huge. You know, obviously, if it hits a solid object, it's going to, you know, embed itself. Now, but we're not doing that. Think about it as a meteorite or an asteroid. We can deflect the magnetic field to a point, because there's a switch-off point, isn't there? There's the magnetic field is travelling through. Now, obviously, one of the biggest issues I've got here is that, let me just get rid of that box a minute. Because the magnetic field has so far to go, we're going to need I need some sort of feedback loop from this magnet here at this end. So, I mean, I could have some plates or some magnetite running around. Now, that is where my, let me just pause a minute. Right, that is where my ring comes into effect. Now, I've been designing this and getting it moulded. Oh, damn it. I want my pointer, not that flipping thing. Right, if I zoom in. Now, I'm going to be... let's just get my pillow thingy. Hang on. Right. Where's my colours gone? Yeah. Right, we're in yellow, that's right. Right, the material is basically going to be underneath this, like, spacer. This is going to be the magnetite. I'll just get rid of that a minute. Right. The magnetite material is actually, I think it's important to use graphite, because I've noticed an opposition. Graphite has a tendency to levitate magnets, which is what I want to use as well, because that will enable me to help to counteract some of the magnetic attraction that we don't want. I've seen this. There's loads of YouTube videos with magnets floating on graphite. So the magnetic field will pass straight through the graphite. So what we need to do is we need to equalize the amount of magnetic field passing through the material. Now, the reason I'm using these discs is the discs themselves, these flat discs, well, that's just my spacer thing, but the magnetic disc basically will allow me to polarize a magnetic field into certain spots, right? I'll put the magnets underneath, and I'll put my mixture of magnetite in there, so I can polarize the magnetic field so it's coming straight through, quite strong, in one area. Let me just get this up here a minute. Right, so let's say the magnetic field coming through is strong there, coming through the material, but it's not polarized in the rest of the material over here. So it might actually be negative. The magnetic field might be spread out more. So what I want to do is I want to have more of a magnetic field coming through here, and the rest of the material, when we're looking at the switch, we will get this. We can focus the magnetic fields from the back of the magnet and displace it across a large surface area on the ring, you know, on the background, if you call it background radiation, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I want to be able to pull this magnetic field off course, basically down here, or cancel it out. At the moment, I've got north here, and you can't really see it very well. And we've got south down here. Right, so it's pulling the magnetic field down, but we can also try flipping that magnet around so there's south coming up. But the trouble is then the magnetic fields are going to be opposing each other. They might actually push the magnetic field in another direction, but it will effectively cancel out the field that's going to the coil because it'll be neutralized in that way. So there's two ways of doing this, I think. We can either try doing it where we've got two magnetic fields opposing each other, and in the centre it will be nulled out virtually at zero potential, which means the coil is not going to get that field, or we can simply pull it down and rotate it down. Now I think this is really useful, and to be honest with you, this is what I'm getting at. Because I don't think anybody's tried this before. Because I've looked at absolutely hundreds of YouTube videos where people are making magnet motors. I've seen the one where, and I've seen you do it actually with a steel. You run a steel bar down between the magnet and the coil. But that, for some reason, you had a problem with that because you were trying to interrupt the magnetic field with a piece of steel when you were still having a traction between the magnet and the steel. Well, I think that is a good idea, but it didn't work, did it? So we need to look at it another way. Instead of trying to put some material that's moving in between the magnet and the coil, we need to pull it off course. And I think that would work because this magnet 2 could actually be much nearer the pivot point of the rotor. It could actually be, you could move this down and have greater leverage and actually have a much larger surface, higher up, larger magnets, and you see what I mean? And we're gaining leverage, you see, that's what I'm looking at. If we can gain leverage, we're effectively creating a gear effect. So the actual spindle in the centre could be running at really high speed, but then you've got reactance problems because there's reactance, as you know, it's inductance. It's the amount of time that it takes for the material to change state. Anyway, I think you get what I'm saying. So I need to work out what speed this will work well at, and for higher speeds, I might actually have to make this material smaller and more condensed so that it reacts better at higher speeds. But based on what I've done here, this is going to be required to be fairly low frequency anyway because of the amount of mass of material. I've noticed that when I polarize this magnetite, if I leave it overnight, for example, if I actually leave the magnets stuck to this magnetite overnight and I come back to pull it off the next day, it seems to stick really hard. But if I've just literally had it off there and I've swapped the polarity of the magnet around and changed the magnet around, it doesn't have near enough magnetic attraction as what it does if it's been left there for some time. So there's definitely a reactance coefficient, if you like, where the material gains more polarization to the magnet when it's left there for some time. So there's that to consider as well. So anyway, I hope you like this video, because I'm just going to make it private for now, because I just basically wanted to explain what I'm trying to do with this. I think you get what I'm talking about. I've not seen anybody else doing this, and I don't understand why, because the weird thing about it when I was drawing this was I was thinking about in terms of the magnetic field, that the magnetic field starts off very close together in the middle, which is what we've got with here, and the magnetic field tends to move outwards. Now that's why I put this higher up, because I want to capture as much of that magnetic field as I can and redirect it through the centre core. That's what I'm trying to do, but I didn't want to make this round, because then I'm going to lose less. I'm going to lose the ability to pull that magnetic field down, so that's why I dipped it in the middle, because I want to be able to have more effect on the field as it comes through, so that it's actually being channeled down anyway. So we've got a flip-flop switch, basically. If you follow these green dots, the magnetic field should actually follow these dots all the way through. You get what I'm saying? And so when we have a magnetic field applied down here, we should have less effort to pull it down all the way, or flip it, whichever. That's what I'm getting at anyway. Hope you like the video. It's 12 minutes long, so I think that's enough. Anyway, keep up the great work. I do support the open source community. My friend Emmanuel, who's been helping me design some of this 3D stuff, he's actually into open source. He designed loads of aircraft and stuff. So, and like you said, I was watching your videos, and the only way to get this stuff out there is to be open source. I mean, there's no other way, because whenever capitalism comes into it, then they start cutting people off, and they start sticking licenses and everything, and isolating us so that we can't get anywhere, and that's not the answer. But anyway, this is a really crude drawing. I'm using PaintShop Pro. It's a really old version from the 90s, so at least it works, does what I want. And yeah, this is a switch part at the bottom where we have a magnet moving. Mag 2 is moving. And now there's two things I wanted to mention about this. Actually, I forgot to mention. The magnet can either be flying across it in this direction, or it can be running across it along the elongation. Now, obviously, due to the reactance level, it might be best to run it in this direction to give it a chance to respond. But I think moving the magnet across in this direction is going to be such a small blip, it's probably not even going to register, and it might not toggle this switch properly. So anyway, that's it.